Welcome back. We now start our election exchange business of governance segment. For the past 3 weeks, we have been getting senior leaders from the entire political firmament and key business leaders to set the agenda for the next government. Joining us today in Business of Governance is Mr. Yashwant Sinha, former finance minister and senior leader of the BJP. In a bit, we'll also be joined by Mr. Adi Godrej, chairman of the Godrej Group of Industries. Gentlemen, welcome. First, let me start with you, Mr. Sinha. Before I ask you to set the agenda for the next government, first up, what would be the BJP stance on this delinking of subsidies with Aadhaar? It comes as a major shock to many of us who thought that finally the subsidies, at least an effort will be made to reach it to the right person. Now with Aadhaar being delinked, what would be BJP's or even your stance on that issue at all? Will you proceed with Aadhaar and set right the legal requirements, or are you abandoning it?
No, we never said we are going to abandon it. We have always said that any such citizen identification process is a very welcome process. In fact, you will recall that when we were in government, we had started the National Register of Citizens. But I like to make a general comment, and that general comment is, you mess up things and then you want to withdraw. This has been the main feature of the UPA government. You will recall that the Aadhaar bill was introduced in Parliament. It was referred to the Standing Committee on Finance, which I chair. It's a multi-party committee. There is a majority of UPA members in this committee. But we functioned on a non-political basis, in a purely impartial basis. And the committee returned the bill to Parliament and to the government, stating all the infirmities in this bill. Now, this was done 2 years ago. The government has not gotten back to Parliament on this with this bill. It's been lying in the limbo, and there are serious differences within the government itself. Now, the problem is, you are covering half the population under Aadhaar and half the population under NPR, which is the National Population Register. How can you do it? Aadhaar is for all residents, including non-citizens.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sinha,
NPR is for citizens.
Yeah, Mr. Sinha,
so the point is, a good scheme has been completely spoilt by this government, and that is the reason why it can't be implemented in its present form. And we'll certainly improve it and do it. We are in favor of the National Population Register.
So, assuming, our election tracker from our sister channel, CNN-IBN, indicated that there is a very strong likelihood of an NDA support, a BJP-led NDA government coming in. Should we assume, therefore, that you will go with the NPR and the Aadhaar will not be the basis of, direct benefit? Actually, that's a supplementary question. Are you going for direct benefit at all? Giving cash benefit and not the good? Yeah.
No. We are for direct benefit transfer, but not on the basis of Aadhaar, which is a very badly designed scheme. We will give it to all citizens of India on the basis of the National Population Register. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Mr. Sinha, good morning. Let me also welcome Mr. Adi Godrej into this discussion, because he's going to be representing India Inc. and tell us what the wish list is, and then we're going to put that forward to you. So, Mr. Godrej, good morning to you. Let me start off first by asking you, what are the 1, 2, 3 reforms or wish list or hope list that India Inc. has from the new government, whoever comes into power?
Well, first of all, I think what is extremely important is that we must improve the ease of doing business in India. As it is historically, ease of doing business in India has been poor. We have been ranked quite low on this factor, and in the last couple of years, it has reduced even further. So we must improve the ease of doing business in the country. Secondly, I would strongly urge the new government that comes in to, at an early date, bring in the goods and services tax legislation. This reform alone can add 2 percentage points to GDP growth, other things being equal, and it starts coming into existence, the growth, immediately after the bill is introduced and the bill is acted upon. And thirdly, I would urge that the new government look at several opportunities to reduce rates of taxes, which can in turn not only help economic growth revive, but will add to revenues also. There are many such cases. I think, for example, I heard that the BJP economic wing has already thought of doing such a thing. I think that could help tremendously in both improving the fiscal position of the country and stimulating economic growth. And one of them, I would urge, should be a reduction in the rate of the minimum alternate tax. Because what is happening is that several stimuli provided in the income tax become not really workable because of the very high rate of minimum alternate tax now. So if all these things are paid attention to, I think India can easily get to an 8% plus growth rate in a very short period of time.
Okay, so since you've set the agenda, let me pose one of the key points that you've made, the goods and services tax. Mr. Sinha, I want to come to you. You know, we all know that many of the BJP-ruled states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh have up until now been resisting the GST. We spoke with Arun Jaitley yesterday where he did mention to Shireen that although he is personally convinced about the virtues of GST, he is not sure whether it is part of the BJP manifesto if and when the BJP comes to power. What is your view, sir, on whether there will be any resistance from the BJP's end, or will they go ahead and, you know, follow many of the reforms that have been tabled by the Congress, particularly GST?
Mr. Adi Godrej has raised a range of issues. And before I respond to GST, let me say that the first and the foremost task of the new government should be to undo the wrongs, the excesses which have been committed by this government with the economy. That should be the first task. And once we start undoing all that, then the economy will start moving forward. As far as the agenda set by Mr. Adi Godrej is concerned, I entirely agree with him. These are issues which will have to be taken up on a priority basis. As far as GST is concerned, it is entirely wrong propaganda to say that the BJP ruled states were opposed to it. You are aware of the fact that Mr. Sushil Modi, when he was in government and the finance minister Bihar, was allowed to become the chairman of the empowered group of ministers, state finance ministers, by the BJP. And what was the idea? The idea was that he should be able to take forward the GST. It was part of our manifesto the last time. The manifesto is under preparation. It will be seriously considered. So to give the impression that the BJP or the BJP ruled state governments are opposed to GST is entirely misplaced, and this is the first thing that I'd like to challenge. The second is, as I said, I am chairman of a committee which looked at the GST after the Constitutional Amendment Bill was introduced in Parliament, and we have returned it some 8-9 months ago to this government, to the Parliament, with our comments. And what was the attempt that we tried to make in the committee, which is, as I said, a multi-party committee, and we gave opportunity to various state governments to appear before us, including Sushil Modi, and represent their point of view, including the government of Gujarat, including the government of Madhya Pradesh. And we have tried to synthesize all the views and made our recommendations. Now, if it is pending with the government, you can't blame the state governments, the BJP or the BJP, for lack of action on the GST front. Certainly, it's a very good move which was thought of and initiated when we were in government. It's a matter of great pity that 10 years down the line, it has not yet seen the light of the day. But we will take a view on this. We'll try and promote GST. I personally feel like Arun Jaitley that it's a progressive form of taxation and we should push it forward.
Okay, well, Mr. Sinha, let me bring forth another view which any new government, NDA government, is going to face a discussion with the Reserve Bank on its slightly altered path. I wouldn't say it's a brave beginning or anything. It seems to be an evolved path that they will concentrate on bringing down inflation, and that itself will be a feed-in into better growth. The RBI is now sitting on a committee, or has a committee report prepared by Urjit Patel, the Deputy Governor, saying that CPI inflation is what the Reserve Bank should be worried about and bring it down to 6% in 2 years in 2016. The other major recommendation is that decisions hereafter, the country should evolve into taking these decisions with a monetary policy committee in which the governor, the deputy governor and two well-known economists are elected into. Any thoughts, any preliminary thoughts that the BJP has on both these issues? Because this will certainly be one of the first issues that you will be confronted with.
I have absolutely no difficulty with what the RBI is doing with in its monetary policy stance in order to tackle the huge problem, unremitting problem of inflation. But I'll say that the RBI is forced to do what RBI is doing because the government has completely abandoned its responsibility to control inflation. And I have been saying it from day one. When RBI raised its rates the first time, I said monetary policy is not the right instrument to control the kind of inflation that India is faced with. Food demand is inelastic, and therefore monetary policy will have no impact on a hopping food inflation. Therefore, the government has to take a number of measures on the supply side, which unfortunately the government has not taken during the last 5 years, and we have been faced with this inflation.
Mr. Sinha, my pointed question,
so
sir.
RBI, let me complete it.
Yes.
RBI is left with no option but to use monetary policy to curb inflation. And I agree with the RBI governor that unless inflation is curbed, there will be no growth. Why has growth in India declined? Because of the central problem of inflation, which has led to interest rate hikes, which has affected investment sentiment, which has led to low growth. This is the cycle which the Prime Minister talked about but did nothing about it. And this is a cycle which will have to be broken. We actually broke it when we were in government. We'll break it again when we come back to government.
So any thoughts on the Monetary Policy Committee making decisions and not just the governor?
No, it's fine, absolutely. I mean, this is the way it is in many countries, and if we set up a monetary policy committee and the decisions are going to be more broad-based, I think it's a welcome move.